Hi there, everyone. My name is Max, and I'd like to thank you all on behalf of Vroman's Bookstore for tuning into today's event with us. Today, we're lucky to have with us Lucky Diaz and Micah Player, who will be talking about their new book, Paletero Man. Lucky is the author, and Micah is the illustrator. Today's event does include a Q&A portion, so if you'd like to ask either of them a question at any point, you can go ahead and click that Ask a Question button towards the bottom, and your questions will be stored in there, and they'll get to that towards the end of the event. And lastly, if you would like to purchase their book, there will be a green button right below here that it will pop up in about 5 minutes, and it will take you to our store. So you can go ahead and click that to purchase their book. So with that all out of the way, I will go ahead and let them take over. Thank you so much.
Wow. Buenos dias, everyone. Hello. Hey, buenos dias, Micah.
Hey, what's up, man? Good to see you.
Good to see you too. It's always. I don't get to see you enough.
No, not nearly enough. But this is great. It's like we're here. We're in a portal. Man, I'm so excited about your book, dude. This is like.
I mean, our book.
I know, but for me it feels so cool because we've been doing art.
Libro.
We've been doing art together so long, right? And this is the first time that what you do and kind of your imagination has been able to sort of like come out in this form. Yeah. And visually, like it's always been a blast for me to riff off of kind of what you're up to. And so it's just exciting that this is, I think, a perfect media for what you're great at, which is communicating directly kind of emotionally with kids. So take it away, Captain.
No, I appreciate that. Well, I think, it's been really fun for you and I. For folks that don't know how long we've known each other, I think it's important to say, I guess, to touch on that. We've been friends for over a decade. And meeting, I often describe meeting you as this really special moment where you meet another soul and you just kind of connect on a different frequency. And every time we get together, it's electric, right? Because we're like, oh, how about this? And we're generating ideas really quickly. And it's a pretty amazing. So I think that this book, Paletero Man, is a perfect culmination of our collaboration, right? Because it's before we worked together on my music projects, and this is definitely a new medium for me, and a different format and a different story and different, right? It's new for me, but it's also, I'm very comforted to know that you are kind of holding my hand and through this literary madness, and that I'm super grateful for. So
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, like I think people are really lucky to sort of get a window into where your headspace is at with this, and I'm excited to kind of hear more about everything that went into sort of making this into like because it went a long road, right? Like I think you've been thinking a lot about the idea of a Paletero Man as sort of like a community hero, somebody that sort of like every kid like lights up when they see. And so originally it came about in a song form. There's a song that you had worked on that we had a lot of fun doing sort of artwork for. And then that idea just I guess the bug never left your head, right? And so it was so fun to kind of come back to that person and that experience of a kid on a hot day, with this book was a blast for me to get through.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think for me, the Paletero, like all immigrant street food vendors, is a hero. And I was, speaking earlier about how, if you take a child to the park promising an ice cream cone or a paleta and the paletero is not there, it's catastrophic, right? It's all these really unsung heroes of our community. And that's what this book is about and inspired by, and my song was inspired by that, the Paletero Man. But this book was really based and inspired on my own, daily ventures out with our young daughter Indiana in K-Town, going to the park, seeing all the street food vendors on 8th Street where we live, and interacting with them, which is really special in the illustrations that you've made, because you really hit it. It's really awesome to see those relationships come to life in another form in this book format, and having that those daily experiences is what inspired this story of this child, going on this quest, and when you're a kid, you're totally obsessed with, what I mean? I when I was a kid, I would be totally obsessed. It would be a whole day activity, whatever it was, right? Whether it was a paleta or getting to the baseball game, there was one event, right, that really, would encompass my focus. And I really approached this story from that perspective, because the crescendo of the party at Echo Park and Los Angeles, and the celebration, a love letter to our city, to Los Angeles. And often, I also mentioned before that, in children's literature, there's a million books about New York City, right? New York City is great, and New York City is great. And there's so much culture there, and it's exciting. But Los Angeles has a very special, it's the epicenter of dreamers, and it has a very special magic. And I know that you've heard me say this 100 times. The way the sun shines in SoCal is very distinct. It's very special. There's something the tone of it is very special, and you've done a brilliant job of illustrating that here. And like you mentioned, there was but that's the story. The story is, our daily, venturings to the Paletero man, and definitely Alicia Gaddis, my wife, your friend Alicia, saying to me, hey, she's an accomplished writer. I get this opportunity to do this, and she really pushed me to do this. So hey, write this story, write this, because I was going through a really difficult time, and we have been going through a very polarizing time for immigrants in my own community and facing racism and stuff. And this is an outlet for me to really express la cultura, my pochoism, and being a Chicano and Latinx father and artist, so I don't know. Thanks, Micah. You really have done a great job in bringing it to life, So.
Well, thanks, dude. And it was a really sort of amazing thing to bring to life, because obviously kind of coming in and sort of LA is an interesting place, because it really is. There's that old cliche, right? That that people are from New York, but they move to LA, right? It's sort of this place where everybody who sort of arrives there is kind of in a they're in a headspace where they want to make something, they want to create something, and of course that exists for New York too. But everyone that I would meet in Los Angeles was somebody who almost without fail had come from somewhere else in the country and was there to sort of try to make something happen. And there are people who sort of are at different stages in that journey. And some of my earliest memories of you are just calling you, trying to figure out where I was in LA at any given time, right? Lucky, I'm on a freeway somewhere, and I just passed a giant thing, and you'd immediately be able to sort of parse, you were the Micah whisperer, you'd be able to figure out where I was talking about, and then go, okay, yeah, get off over here, and and so it's sort of that, and our close friend Tilt, may he rest in peace. Our Lucky and I were introduced by one of my dearest friends who had spent years in LA as an improv performer, and was just dearly beloved by so many people in that community. And he introduced us, and he introduced us initially through Alicia, which was such a great experience getting to know both you guys. But all of us were at these different sort of places, different sort of I lived down in Costa Mesa and Newport Beach area, so I was kind of I was coastal, Southern California, but Los Angeles is a different ballgame. So I like to claim it, but whenever I would come up to work on something with you guys, whether it was painting set pieces for your TV show, in the front yard of that little thing that you guys lived behind that architect's house, it was always such a cool experience, and it was always just a reminder of how that city is about collaboration and connecting. And it's such a cool way that you've brought that up in a story about ice cream, and in a story about a kid who is supported by the people around him, because that just really feels like LA to me.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, you're right. The community of LA is our made up family, right? So many of us don't have our blood family per se. So we make these families out of the communities of other dreamers that collect, right? And we have a likeness to us. And so, it's so that's what this book is about, that we're super proud of. I'm super proud of being this with you. I think we should read this book. Yes.
Yes, do it. I can't wait to hear you read it.
Oh man, so I'll do my best to I have a light there, but and in dedication, I just want to say, in loving memory of Tilt Tyree, he turned daydreams into memories, and friends into family. Micah and Lucky. I think it's important that we honor Tilt on this beautiful spread of Griffith Park and Observatory overlooking Los Angeles. Very iconic view of the city of LA. I think I don't want to say it's my favorite page spread, but it's certainly like up there.
I think it looks the most like our music work.
It does, yeah. In the hottest month, on the hottest day in the city of dreamers, California, LA, I grab my dinero and I make my way to find my friend, Paletero Jose. Also love the cat, Micah.
Thank you.
Pushing his cart full of cool treats, bailando, he dances to mariachi beats. He has dozens of flavors. I can already taste. Will he have my favorite? There's not a second to waste. And I have to point out all these gorgeous Easter eggs in here. In the for all y'all that buy the book and read it, get in here. These are really fun little clues that Micah has put in of our collective works. I think you have a Scorcheroonie. It's a Scorcheroonie. It's a heat wave.
It's an
Otor TV show.
Lemonade would be so refreshing on it.
Yeah, it would be. There's Tío Ernesto. He asked, "Tamal? No, gracias, tío. Where's Paletero Jose?" And I do say tamale. And I think it's important that I call that out because it is the Spanglish that I like to use and I'm also very proud of. So, yeah. Oh, and this is my favorite part. Ring, ring, ring. Can you hear his call? Paletas for one, paletas for all. And I must say, this is an exact, representation of the kind lady on 8th Street with her daughter that sold flowers. Amazing. It's really amazing to see it. Una Roma is calling, caught in the breeze. It's a barbecue smell coming from Miss Lee's. Hola, querido, would you like a sample today? No, gracias, señorita. Where is Paletero Jose? Very, very cool.
This spread, particularly for me, makes me miss Los Angeles because I want to eat everything that's in it.
And you have the best one right there.
Yeah.
Ready to roll. Ring, ring, ring. Can you hear his call? Paletas for one, paletas for all. The only way to beat this heat is with an icy cold paleta treat. And I must say, the trees on 8th Street look exactly like this. I have no idea. Like, you just really nailed that.
Dude, thanks, man.
It's really gorgeous.
I've been working on those trees. I put some love in those trees.
There's my friend from the bike shop. Lo siento, Frank, there's no time to stop. Ring, ring, ring. Can you hear his call? Paletas for one, paletas for all. Uh-oh, what's this, Micah player?
Oh, no.
What are those things? What is happening here?
Called foreshadowing.
Will we have all the flavors, colors I love? Horchata canela, the kind I dream of. Chocolate, elote, sandía o fresa, arroz con leche, miel o cereza. Ring, ring, ring. Can you hear his call? Paletas for one, paletas for all. I will say, I especially love the paleta flavors that have the chunks in them. They are especially delicious.
Yeah, for me, it's strawberry cream, man.
Yeah,
whole strawberries in there.
Here he is, Paletero Jose. Finally, I'll get cool on this very hot day. Oye, niños, what will it be? Beautiful park setting in Los Angeles.
This like when I think about parks in LA, I always think about the sort of big open areas behind the Natural History Museum. Like
oh yeah, sure.
That for me is kind of like this is like a pretend Echo Park, because I love Echo Park, but like when I close my eyes and think about my kids, it's like, man, those afternoons behind the museum, like just beautiful. LA is just a great place to have a family and a great place to be out and about with your kids.
Well, I think, it's cool you say that because like, I feel like the parks generally in the book are homages to all LA parks, right? Because I see a little bit of MacArthur Park, I see a little bit of Echo Park, I see a little bit of that space, like you mentioned by the Natural History Museum, and they all seemingly are together, right? So it's
yeah, man, the identity, and this was a big part of it. Anyway, let's talk about it after.
Okay, sure.
Sorry.
He has all my favorites. Can it be true? Chocolate, vainilla, y melon too. But today I'd like piña. Do you have that sabor? He smiles a big smile. Claro, para ti el mejor. I reach into my pocket to pay for my paleta.
Oh, no.
Dun, 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 dun.
What happened?
He seems very pleased. I love that greeny smile too. That is
like all of us right before the other shoe drops, right?
That's it.
Here we go.
Mi dinero, my money está perdido. It's missing its lost. ¿A dónde se ha ido? What will I do? What can I say? How can I buy my paleta today? Oh, God.
Oh, man, you're out of luck.
Oh, man, this is devastating.
It's life.
I especially like whatever's coming out of his pockets. Lint.
Yep. That's clearly lint. I did a lot of research on lint to get it just right.
Yeah, it is perfect. Just at that moment, who do I see? My neighborhood friends, Theo, Frank, and Miss Lee. We called out your name when we saw your coins drop, but you must have not heard us because you didn't stop. Muchas gracias, amigos. What I have done? I guess I dropped my money when I was on the run. Really wonderful, Micah. Special. Kindness for all, shouts Paletero Jose. I have a surprise that will brighten your day. Oh yeah, amigos, paletas on me. Because of your kindness, the paletas are free. I especially like saying that line. Like, it's like I
think I pictured you saying the line, right? Like,
because the paletas are free.
Yes, it's so egalitarian.
Whether it's stormy or whether it's sunny, whether or not you have any money, I'll always help out an amigo in need. Yo te prometo, an amigo indeed. And we see all these beautiful acts of kindness, paleta sharing, in the park or the city, really. In the hottest month, on the hottest day, we have fun in the sun with Paletero Jose. Ring, ring, ring. Can you hear his call? Paletas for one, paletas for all. And then there's a small author's note in the back. Micah, it's very special. I especially love this illustration here. And I think what many people don't know is that my brother is named Jose. And I love the fact that, we've talked about this before, and I don't want to speak for you, Micah, but I feel like you've represented that kind of idea and the sense of brotherhood in these characters, and that's something that's really special as well. So,
dude, great reading. It was awesome hearing you read that. It's funny. It's like, well, the thing about the relationship between Jose and the kid is that obviously the kid for me is baby Lucky. Like I just sort of the whole time I just was sort of thinking like, okay, Lucky's excited. He really wants some ice cream, and it's like it's kind of a there's something about like that curiosity that I think you have about a lot of stuff in life, and the connection that we've had as friends has been, you kind of end up doing something for a living, and this has been said by a lot of people, that sort of lines up with wherever you sort of like, wherever you peaked intellectually, right? I don't know if that's true, but wherever you sort of arrived, like there's a piece of me that like really just, I love talking about moments in life from this particular sort of like age, right? Because like you can tell that this kid is old enough to be independent. He's old enough to kind of get out there and like go and find something that he wants. But he's still a kid and he's still excited about simple things. And I think that's part of what's been a joy in working with you, is I feel like you get excited about those important moments. We used to talk for hours. I mean, like we said earlier, we've been friends for over a decade. I mean, very much over a decade. Like,
yeah, a long time. Yeah.
I mean, we lose track, right? But like we've been friends for, I mean, probably 15 years, right? And just hours and hours and hours of talking about how important it is for kids entertainment to be honest and to respect kids, because the life of a child is a complete place, and it's a place that's full of all kinds of emotions. And so part of what's been, I think, really important, or what was really important for me in working on this book, because it was for you, is I really wanted to make sure that like the expressions and the reactions were that you could read a lot into them. And in that moment when he's so excited, he's going to reach his pocket, he's going to like, that's all of us, right? That's all of us, like right before we launch a book, right before people like hear a new song that we've been dying to show them, like right before a film comes out, if you're a filmmaker and you just finally got that short into a festival, and like people are going to see it, people are going to feel it, and there's just that moment. And then, like maybe the projector doesn't work, or or maybe the PA system breaks down, or, the other day I was talking to some friends. We have a conversation like this coming up with San Francisco Public Library, and I was so excited to do a little technical run through about a drawing demo. And my computer just completely like, nope, not going to do it today, and it's these moments. And then the rallying happens, right? Then there's the people who set up the festival, and they go grab the projector and make sure that it gets going, and somebody finds your USB-C cable, and it's just like we choose to do these things together. And of course you can look at this in all kinds of areas of life, but like that excited moment, oh, it's going to be great, it's going to be perfect, and then oh no, like something went wrong that you weren't anticipating. And then it's everyone else that kind of comes together and lifts you. And I just there were a couple of moments working on this book that I just remembered experiences like that, being lost in LA, and like, where am I? And you like walked me through like how to get to your place. And, like you working on the show with Alicia and all of the friends that joined together to make those PBS shorts, right? Like a few years ago. And just the community of people that we were all just kind of having so much fun making something happen. And if we weren't all together doing it, it doesn't exist, and there's just this, that's the beauty of I think what you've captured in the story. And of course, a lot of people are just like, dude, it's about ice cream. It's cool. It's ice cream, dude.
And that's cool too. I mean, I'm overwhelmed when I read it, because, you have your own narrative within the narrative, which is amazing. And I think that that's something that I really didn't truly understand until like I did this with you together in this kind of format, because an aesthetic language is something you've always, we have always done together, but you represent that and create that. But to see your own narrative within this narrative is really magical. And so it's like you really took the ball, like you get a pitch, right? But then you hit it. You're like hitting it, you're running around the bases, you're making a play. And that's exciting to see, because, you came up with so many great ideas that I would have never thought of, or that I wanted, like we didn't have a conversation about, but you did them the way that I know that we would have come up with together. I think in some ways, like if we had a conversation, should this character be like this? Well, you already did that. Like, I remember seeing Theo Ernesto with the tattoos, and there's a couple of different incarnations about him, but every single one of them was just like spot on. They all worked, right? But they were all like as if we had a conversation about it. And
well, because we've had so many conversations. I was going to say too many. We've had too many conversations. No, guys, you don't want to be in on the late night midlife crisis conversations.
We have all those.
We have a lot of them, and triumphant ones too. Lots. Yeah. But but no, like I feel like I was always more comfortable after you would see something and that's part of, I think, maybe the sickness of an illustrator or of any entertainer, right? Like an illustration, that's the only kind of entertaining we get is like when we submit the work and then we get the notes back. Like we're like, I've done well, whatever. Like it's not the same as like being in front of a crowd or whatever. But it's that same thing. And you were the most important audience. Like I always wanted to know, like if I sent it off, and of course I'll admit this to Nancy and Chelsea.
Yeah.
I will confess at this time, there were many times that Lucky was the first person to see anything. Sorry. Like, I think that's against the rules or whatever.
Yeah,
but
probably. But
yeah, it's, you know, the author's supposed to like get it piped through the publisher, right? But like, I'd be like, hey, dude, is this okay? You know? And it was always such a cool feeling when it was okay, because this was your baby. I know, but this was your baby, and like, I'm so proud to work on it. I feel like I'm talking a little tiny bit too much because I'm so excited about it. But I
think it's like for like it has a very sensitive cultural importance to me as a Chicano, Latinx parent and person, and Mexican, Mexicano, son of an immigrant. Like, you really honored that, and with the colors and the place that, you know, my dad also grew up in it, and like, that is a dream come true. So it's all in color. But if there's anyone that had questions, I think, are we gonna have answers to these questions? Are there any questions? I don't know if there's any.
We answered them in advance.
Maybe we did. I don't know. I don't know if they even. I don't know if they come up anywhere. I'm not too sure.
So it doesn't look like there's any questions right now, but if anyone in the audience does have questions, feel free to just put them in the chat on the side, and Lucky and Micah can read them from there.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. Again, it's a real. I don't know. It's a real honor. It's exciting for this to be out in the world, and you know, as a love letter to our dreams, our kids, you know, the city of Los Angeles, and our, you know, our collective work. So I think that, you know, it's awesome. You know, I may add that we both have backgrounds that have keyboards in them. So like,
we do. We're in the same room.
Yeah, we are. And
two parallel cameras
and keyboards. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. On this other on the other studio wall that I have a couple of your a few of your pieces actually. I have the Joe and Kamala, and then I have a couple of illustrations of dedications you've done over the years. So it's cool to see.
I have a few things behind me. I have the Around the World puzzle, first thing I ever published, right?
Yeah.
I have this weird porcelain cluster of birds that like belong to my mom. So like my mom, she hasn't passed away or anything. My mother's still with us, but she has this weird obsession with like porcelain kind of like animals, like yeah, no, they'll be like birds or like a polar bear or like whatever, and it's so like this particular one, I'll grab it. This one is. It's like all broken and like smashed or whatever. It ended up at our house, and Stephanie was like, "What is this thing? Get this out of my kitchen or whatever, you know." And it just found its way here because I love the things that kind of click with us, right, as important. And for some reason, to my mom, I'll be spending the rest of my life trying to figure out, what does my mom like about this thing? You know, it'll be something that I go over. And I'm glad that I could share that with all of you. It's really important.
Pertinent. Yeah. It's very, yeah.
So Lucky, when you initially like started coming up with this, like when you were right away, like, because I feel like it's been years, right, that you've been sort of thinking about how this could be a story for you've had a few different ideas for picture books, I know, over the years. This was the first one that really sort of went the distance as far as like capturing your attention. Why this one? Because we've talked about a few different stories. Why this one?
I don't know exactly, other than the fact that it was really I guess in looking at the book now, it's a real capsule of the time of our lives in K-Town at that time, and the Paletero is such a huge figure in our family life on any day. Like, we would just walk like every other day, and we wouldn't always get up like that, but we did it often. And there was times where, you know, I'd be like a quarter short. I'd say, "Hey, I get you tomorrow," or the guy's like, "Don't worry about it. Like, I'll see you tomorrow," and I give him $1. You know, like, we had this relationship. But I think like anything else, like, I just kind of was testing myself. I was like kind of determined to do it, right? Because I was challenging myself to say, like, you know, to just actually be able to do it. Because I feel I'm kind of my own worst enemy. I'm always thinking like I can't do it. And I think when faced with a challenge, I don't know, I just challenged myself, and this happened to be the subject matter that I wanted to write about because it was happening so much. And at that same time, I was writing other songs and like other work, other books about the neighborhood, Pan Dulce, which is a song that we have, is about the same journey. It's literally the same walk that you illustrate here. We just passed the Panaderia, and, we're working on a Pan Dulce book now, which I'm excited about. But I mean, yeah, it's yeah. Oh wait, so we're gonna hear a little bit of the song. Well, the song is it's a completely different animal, but I will play some of it, of course.
It comes from the same heart.
What's that?
I just feel like it's like the song and the book are like brother and sister. You know what I mean? They come from a place both come from your heart.
Yeah, they're both inspired by Paletero, man. I'll play a little bit of it. On the hottest day of the year, he rounds the corner, the kids all cheer. It's the Mexican ice cream man selling his paleta to all he can. He's el paletero. He's el paletero man. He's el paletero, making his dinero, selling all his ice cream to todos los chiquillos. Oh yeah, my friends, can you hear the sounds of the weekend? Oh yeah, my friends, don't miss your chance, man, I got paletero. Shuffling down the street, dancing to the radio's mariachi beat. Will he have the flavors that we all love? Chocolate y vanilla, hope he gets us some from the paletero. He's el paletero man. He's el paletero, making his dinero, selling all his ice cream to todos los chiquillos. Oh yeah, my friends, can you hear the sounds of the weekend? Oh yeah, my friends, don't miss your chance, man, I got paletero. Oh yeah, my friends, can you hear the sounds of the weekend? Oh yeah, my friends, don't miss your chance, man, I got paletero, man. Baile! Yeah! Love it! So yeah, I mean, yeah. Gosh, I love writing songs though too. Those are fun to do.
Dude, I remember getting that from you, and then we did like the little animated video thing and the artwork for it. And it's the energy of that song, man. Such a blast. Such a blast.
It's fun. Yeah. So yeah. Do you have any other questions today? We're good. Like I don't know.
I was wondering, can you play a bunch of other songs?
I could play. Hold on. What do we have? We have a new song called Sábado, but wait, hold on. Here's like another song. Here's this one.
Yeah, dude, you gotta give the people something.
Okay, hold on. I haven't played these songs in about 18 months, so we'll see how it goes. Es sábado en la mañana y voy a la panadería con mi mamá. Estoy corriendo en mis pijamas porque mi mami me dice escoge que te da la gana. ¡Ay, los sabores! ¡Mira los colores! ¡Ay, qué rico! Los cochinitos doce. Quiero comer todo el pan doce. Yo quiero comer doce. Quiero comer todo el pan doce. Lo quiero comer mi amigo americano no conoce todos los sabores y colores. I tell him, man, let's take a bite. Then you see my pan dulce is dynamite. Con chocolate y con cereza, con ilusión y con queso dulce. Quiero comer todo el pan dulce. No quiero comer doce. Quiero comer todo el pan doce. No quiero comer doce. Quiero comer todo el pan doce. No quiero comer doce. Quiero comer todo el pan doce. No quiero comer doce. apúrate porque se está desvaneciendo. You better hurry, you better worry, cause if you have no pan, tu vas a enojar. Quiero comer todo el pan dulce, no quiero comer todo dulce. Quiero comer todo el pan dulce, no quiero comerlo.
Oh, so good, dude! That's the first time I've heard that song. That's so good. Is that brand new?
No, man, that's like off the old record, man. It's like
what?
It's like 2 records ago or something.
I don't know how I haven't heard that song, but that is amazing. That was beautiful.
Oh man, thanks. No, yeah, I actually really like on the recording of it. There's like some really wacky guitars on it. Like it's all kind of like crazy.
Is this off LA?
No, it's on. Which one is it on? It's Buenos Dias.
Okay.
The black one you did.
Dude. Buenos Dias is an amazing album. Dude, there's a cool statement here. Jonas Duran mentions that his son is in a dual immersion in English-Spanish school in Whittier, and that he's a substitute teacher out there, and he's so glad that you wrote the story. Dude, there's something really important about all of this too. The way that you're kind of like you're a welcoming sort of like soul. And I feel like I've felt very much kind of like connected to the things that are important to you through the music that you've worked on and being able to work on some of the artwork for what, for your stuff. But like part of what's so cool for me as somebody who didn't grow up within Chicano or Latinx culture or whatever, like that wasn't part of my experience, but your experience and the way that you talked about your life to me, like it's so interwoven to just the experience of being a kid and growing up with sort of worries and concerns and not really knowing how you fit in. And those are such universal things that your work is like a window into this corner of it that was new to me, and I'm excited for my kids and other kids who are being introduced to the sort of like magic of the particulars of your experiences, the particulars of your neighborhoods, the particulars of the flavors and the sounds and the words. Like Paletero Man is just such a welcoming introduction to that. So it was cool to see Jonas sort of mentioning about sort of this dual immersion stuff, because in some ways it's like so much of what you do is an introduction to people who might want to understand how it feels to be connected to both those things.
Well, no, thanks, man. And I think like, for this guest, our person, Miss Jonas Duran, I have to say gracias and thank you. The Spanglish element of my work and the work I get to do is so important to me, like culturally, and that's again why the text in this book is so important, and having it being represented in kid literature and kid lit, that and not, I'm not a Spanish educator. I never claimed to be. To me, it's in the middle. I'm in the middle, and the middle is this place where I feel we get to make a new place for ourselves, as a pocho. And, I was never Mexican enough for my Mexican family. I was never, American enough for like the kids I went to school with. And, and like Whittier, to me, as a resident of Whittier, that like a real heart of Chicano culture is on Whittier Boulevard, and lowriding culture that's also very important to me. And, being a Latino Latinx person, it's also magical. Like I love lowriders. The metal flake, I always think that metal flake paint jobs are in my blood, like I just kind of love it, and it really speaks to me. And because my own parents are like, well, we're no somos Chicanos, somos Mexicanos, and I'm like, yeah, you are Mexican and I'm Mexican too, but like I'm a Chicano and they're Chicano in the sense that like they're really working in farms and canneries and on strike with Diamond Walnut. I remember when I was a kid, like, we didn't buy like products from them. And I remember like, we being activated, even if my parents didn't think they were activists, they were activated. And something that this all speaks to me in a place where like, and I also feel it's so very Californian too. I mean, I know it exists in Arizona,
very California,
but like, there's something very California, but like, orale man, like, it's just like, and you got like, like orale, like I feel like that's kind of, ours and mine and yours and Jonah's. So it's awesome that you're here, and thank you for playing the work and music and stuff. So yeah. Yeah. Did he say Paletero, man? I'm introducing artists now. So thank you. Gracias a ti. That's all I can say about that.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Wow, and it's so cool to be on Vromans, right? Like I feel like it's such an amazing place to sort of first talk about the book. So I feel
it's a really great place to. I don't know. This is just you and I even talking is just fun. So
yes. Well, but you. Never mind. I was gonna comment on how much more put together you look. Like just look at Lucky. Look at Lucky's beard. Look at that perfect beard.
Because I had that reading yesterday, so I actually had to shave.
So good.
No, man. You have a beautiful like Hemingway thing happening right now.
I'm on a boat right now.
The old man sea.
I've just reeled in some cod.
Yeah.
Well, man, this musically too. The book has a real cadence to it musically, and it's almost like its own song. Like the way that it sort of played out. And in fact, like when we ended up doing the book trailer, right?
Yeah.
Like you sat down and you worked out sort of like a version of it.
No, we did our own song.
No, we did. But
Yeah,
see, this is how we do things when it comes to music. Like I'll go, hey, look, I'll go like an idea. It's like doo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo. Like it's like, yeah, cool, right on. And then he like disappears. Comes back with like a full like horn section and like whatever. But like it's but that's something that's fun. Like when Jonas mentions like please write more, the same thing. Like it's please write more because I want to illustrate more stories by you, but also like the musicality of the stories themselves is such a blast to sort of like read through. And nobody nobody like can only read something by you once. I think there's always something more to pick up on the second time through.
Well, you and I are talking, and I'm working on the things you and I talked about. So I think that, there's some things in the future, I hope. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, I think that's it.
We can go ahead and wrap it up there. We can go ahead and wrap it there.
He's like, that'll be enough. We've subsidized this little chatty chat.
Well, Lucky, Micah, thank you both so much. That was wonderful. I had a really good time. Everyone in the audience, I hope you had a good time as well. And thank you so much for joining us. Again, if you would like to buy their book, the green button is down below. But with
Elotero Man, we should do an Elotero Man. Elotero me gusta mayonesa. I like with cheese. Little Lester, please. He's an elotero. Come on. No?
I just got it yesterday.
It was so good to meet you, by the way. Thank you for having us out, man. It was a blast.
Of course. I hope you all have a good day. Bye.